Okay, so this course it's on Dynamics 365 SEM modules. We will be dealing with the advanced modules like warehouse management, transportation management, and landed cost. So the prerequisite for these modules are inventory, like product information management, inventory management, and sales and purchase module. So these are the prerequisites, and these modules works on top of that. And I'll go with the warehouse management. So within warehouse management, we will be dealing with inbound, outbound operation. Under inbound, we will be dealing with purchase order receiving. So when we are using warehouse management option, like that one's warehouse option, it's a paperless receiving where the items will be received using a handle device, or it will be an app where they will key in the purchase order number, item number, and the quantity, and based on that the system checks the warehouse location where this particular item can be kept based on the fixed location or based on the available storage. There are some setup based on that the system suggests in which location the item can be placed, and once that has been received it will be assigned to a worker. He will use the handle device, he will pick the item. It can, like, you can manually pick or it can be a forklift where the items will be kept on a pallet or license plate, and then you will be shifting the stock from the receiving location to the actual location suggested by the system. And we do have an option to override this location which is being suggested by the system. And then we have ASN based, load based. So all these three process are for receiving the purchase orders only. The difference are in ASN based receiving. Let's say the vendor is sending you the ASN details. There are multiple order or an order with more number of lines, let's say 10, 20 lines. So you will be sending the ASN details, like what is the license plate, what is the batch, all those details you will be sharing. And based on that ASN detail also we can receive. Okay. So the difference between purchase order receiving and ASN is, here it will be a few clicks. Like you need to enter the ASN detail. I mean, there will be a unique ID which represent the ASN number, and based on that, you can receive, like on a single click, all the items will be received, and then it will be moved to the respective location. Whereas in purchase order, you need to enter the purchase order number, item number, and then the quantity. And then load-based receiving, it's mostly for the transportation module where you'll be sending your shipping carrier or a third-party carrier to pick an item from a location, in a container. Let's take load as a container. So within the container there can be a number of purchase orders, a number of items and quantities. All those will be clustered under a load, and you will be receiving the item based on the load. Like you will be entering the load number, and then you need to enter the purchase order number, and then the item number, and then the quantity. So that's how it will be received. So these are the different ways how you receive an item for a purchase order, and same way we have for transfer orders. So when you are moving stock from one warehouse to another warehouse, let's say the two warehouse is advanced warehouse, like you can receive the item. If the from warehouse is non-advanced and the two warehouse is advanced, still the system accepts that. Like at the receiving end, it says whether the location is advanced warehouse or a non-advanced warehouse. So based on that, we'll be using the handle device. And before I go to the next, any questions in the inbound operation? I hear none. So shall I go the next one, guys? Please do respond because I'm not sure whether it's a disconnect or like actually there is no
Uh,
question.
fair,
Okay,
fair, Ashok.
sure. Thank
Only thing I have one doubt
you.
is like
Mm.
we can be able to practice in sandbox environment, right? Is there anything that to be taken care? Regular
Yeah,
sandbox
there
environment.
is. There will be a VM. Probably you can check with the organizer, Visualpath, where they can provide you those details. But we will have an, or maybe it can be a VM or a trial, because earlier we used to have a trial environment given by Microsoft. Now it is not there, so we need to depend on the VM.
Okay, so what about the setups, prerequisite setups and all when we are doing with VMware?
They will be providing the details. So if it's a VM, they will save its application, and the application will be shared for installation and the VHD drive also. And
Okay.
like you'll have a manual and setups, file setup.
No, no, no. I'm asking about advanced warehouse
Okay,
setups.
that
How we can
I'll
identify that?
okay, I'll just cover the warehouse management, then I'll take this question because we have in the next slide what are the setups that will be covered.
Okay, okay.
Right. Then the outbound operation. So outbound is a movement of stock from our premise to the customers or to the other warehouse. So here, like once the sale orders are created, the warehouse guy he looks into the shipments that should be processed. Basically, he looks into the sale order on the on end quantity, everything, and he process the sales order. So process in Dynamics terminology for advanced warehouses release to warehouse. So on releasing to a warehouse, the system will create a shipment. Okay, and all the shipments will be added to a load. So again, wherever you see loads, it's all related to transportation management. It's not purely to advanced warehouse. But since both the modules are interlinked, you will see the load management in warehouse management as well. So you guys have an idea on the shipment, what the shipment will have?
Yeah,
No,
freight charges or something.
no,
No,
Shok.
no. Okay. So you guys order an item in Flipkart, right? The moment you order an item, after paying, you will be getting a shipment ID. Have you ever noticed that?
Yeah,
Yes, yeah, unique ID will
Okay,
come.
right. So assume that case. Release to warehouse means your order being processed. On processing that, you will get a shipment ID. So shipment ID will be your unique tracking for that particular, maybe a sales line. Let's take a sales line, not sale order, sale line level. Or if you want to cluster, like all the sales order will be under one shipment, you can consolidate. But to the least, a sale order line will have one shipment ID. So it's for tracking. Okay. So let's say you are ordered for 10 quantity. While releasing to the warehouse, assume that you have only stock 5. Okay. And you wanted to process this. So while releasing to the warehouse, system will create a shipment for only 5 quantity. Like if you release for 5 quantity, it will just create a shipment for 5. And rest of the 5 still in the sales order, it will be in the open quantity. And later you can release to the warehouse and that will create another shipment. So for a sales order line, you will have more number of shipments, like it's a partial shipment, right? So shipment is for individual tracking. So from there you will get to know what is the sales status of the order line on the delivery on that part. Okay, and load is related to transportation management. Assume that the company has their own freight service, like they have their fleet management, everything. So what they do is they collect multiple shipment and put under one container for the shipment process. Okay, and there are many combinations. Like if they are dealing with third party, also it can be used, or if they have their own fleet, load management will be used. But load management is nothing but cluster of shipments for the outbound operation. Okay, and then see here so far we have created the shipment. Okay, so still the orders it's not picked or packed, and then what we will be doing is there will be a process of wave releasing. Okay, what does it means is let's say in a warehouse you will have a cutoff date. If you take Flipkart, you might have seen that if something has been ordered before 11 o'clock, you will receive the shipment by next date. Have you seen this? Have you ever noticed?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yes, yes.
Right. The reason is let's say the order is created at 10:30, okay, and at 11 o'clock they will be having a schedule that on 11 o'clock whatever orders has been received and we have stock we will be processing for the day, and any order after that or any order that doesn't already placed and doesn't have a stock, it will be processed in the next wave. So wave is like a batch of shipment that they're going to process, like warehouse, like other than Flipkart, if you take other warehouse, there will be multiple schedules. Like if something has been ordered in the morning, by afternoon there will be a wave processing, and if it's 24 hours, 24 hours working warehouse, there will be one or two wave processing schedule. So wave processing is nothing but a batch of shipments that are going to be processed. And the reason why we will be using wave processes, let's say a same item, okay, there are 10 orders. If we are picking based on the shipment, I mean, for every shipment, we need to pick an item. Then, uh, let's say the worker has to visit the same location within a warehouse 10 times. So here we are not optimized, right? It's a waste of time for the worker. Like it's a waste of time, manpower waste and the time waste. Both are there. So what we'll be doing is we will be clustering multiple shipments under one wave, okay? And based on that wave, the system creates a work. So in the work, for the work will have a separate line for each shipment line, and it will say how many items from which location it has to be picked. So the how here we are optimizing the performances. The work will be created for more than one shipments also. Okay, like there are three sales also. Like I'm ordering a mobile and you are ordering a mobile and like someone is ordering a same mobile. So all these three shipments will be in the same work. So the worker will go to that location only one time, but he picks three quantity for each, like one for each of the shipments. In this, we will optimize the performance of the worker and the delivery will be fast. So that particular process for to achieve that we will be using wave processing, and there are many filters like how you wanted to split the waves, like for certain items you need to have a separate wave, or certain types of customer you need to have separate waves. Like you can define multiple waves, and this wave is applicable for sales orders as well as transfer. And once the wave is processed, you will have the works created. Like basically it will say from where you need to pick an item and where you need to put an item. That's it. Like, that's a thing what a work will have, and you will be assigning manually to a worker. Okay. And he goes to the location, he use the handle device, he see what are the works that are assigned for him, and he goes to the location, he scans and he picks the item and he put in the outbound location. And if there is any packing process, he will pack, and then the work will be complete. Like the moment you pick and put, the work will be completed, and then there will be a pack process. Once packing is done, you will confirm a shipment, and then you post a packing slip. So here while picking, like there can be a label generator, or at the time of packing, there'll be some label generated. Like in the Flipkart shipment, you will see, right, along with the shipment, you will have a tracking ID where it describes what is the shipment ID, who's the customer, what is the address, what is the, let's ignore the item, but at least the minimal information it will be having there. And like Flipkart has eCart, which is the service provider for logistics. So they will be getting a tracking ID from eCart, and that they will be sharing. So that particular tracking ID will be used to see in real time where the stock is there. So similar kind of process also will be there, but the tracking part is not within Dynamics 365. But once after the work has been processed, at the time of packing, we will get the tracking ID from our shipping carrier service through some integration, and we will update that value in the barcode or the label what we are printing. Okay, so this is what we will be covering in outbound operation, and the same applies for transfer order shipment as well. So even for transportation shipment, we'll have release to warehouse shipment, wave processing, book. All these will be it's applicable for transfer order shipments as well. Any questions before I go to the next one? Right. Still, I have a slide for warehouse management.
Fair, Ashok.
Okay, I'll go to the next one. And then internal operations. Like so far, we have seen the inbound and the outbound operation, and there are some operation which we carry within the warehouse, like counting process. So in warehouse management, we have cycle counting and threshold based counting. Like when the quantity falls below the threshold, the system will create a work for counting. And there is a spot counting where you don't want the counting journal to be created. You can directly go and scan the item and you enter the quantity, and the difference will be created as an adjustment, and someone will validate, and like the manager will validate, and he approves that, and the adjustments will be posted. So we have, like, using the handle device, we will be doing the counting process. Even we can perform the inventory adjustment, increase and decrease of a stock, inventory movement as well, movement of stock from one location to another location. So these are the process what we do within the warehouse.
Yeah, one doubt, Ashok, for the inventory movement, do we need to, no, does it goes under like, same warehouse process that, we have seen in the earlier slide, like,
No,
same way
say,
will come,
no, no.
because this is a,
Since it's a movement within a warehouse, right? So you
okay,
just
okay,
need
within
to
a
mention the location.
okay, okay.
Then I'll go into setup. So so far we have seen the process what we'll be doing in the uh, warehouse who use the advanced warehouse, right? Now for this to work, we need some sort of setups. Like the setups I have mentioned here. One is location. So we when we are dealing with advanced warehouse, we will by default the system will enable location, inventory status, license plate. So license plate is nothing but the pallet. You guys have you ever seen a pallet in your real time? Like it will be a wooden thing where they will
Yeah, yeah.
place all
So
the
we
items.
can see in metros.
Ah, right. You can see there. So that's a pallet. It's usually used for an identification purpose as well. It's part of our storage dimension. Okay. So that all there, and then we will have a location. So within a location, we will be placing an item. I mean a license plate, and on top of the license plate, the item will be there with a stock. Okay, so those part we will be seeing, like what are the setups that are required to create a advanced warehouse setup. So the key is warehouse location, and when we are creating a warehouse location, we will be having the location profiles. So location profiles are a group of location or a characteristic for a location. Like instead of defining the characteristic for each of the location, we create as a profile and we tag to a location. So when I say a profile, what it means is, let's say a particular location should not have two different kind of items. It should have only one particular item or different set of batch, or you don't want it to mix different set of items, or a particular unit of measurement items only it should be kept. Or let's say a particular location is not a license plate tracking location, because I don't deal with a license plate for that particular location or home. So all these you can define in the location profile, and then each location will be tagged to a location profile, and that will respect the parameter that is defined in the location profile. Okay, and then we have location directive. Like in the inbound and the outbound operation, as I said, right, the system suggests which, like from where it has to be picked and where it has to be placed. So how the system knows, like the warehouse will be big and there can be multiple locations, how the system knows that. So that we will be defining in the location directive. So location directive is nothing but a rule what we define in the system, stating that if this is the process, look into all the locations within uh, this particular region or a zone. You can add parameters also, like it will be a query. Based on the query result, the system will retrieve from which location the item has to be picked, or for the sales, like from which location it has to be picked, and for purchase, in which location it has to be placed. Okay. So location directive acts as a rule engine to for the system to suggest from which location the item has to be picked for the sales process, and in which location the item has to be placed for the purchase. Whereas the purchase pick location will be your a default location where you receive the item and keep it. It's a fixed location. And for the sales process, your put location also will be a fixed, which will be outbound dock. And there can be an intermediate location, a staging location, where everything will be kept in one location, and then again from there they will be moved. Okay, so all those we will be defining in location directive, and for each of our operation like adjustment, sales, movement, everything we need for everything we need to define the location directive. Guys, clear or any questions?
Yeah, fair.
and then license label configuration. So in Dynamics 365, we have out of box label generation component. We use ZPL language. It's known as Zebra Printer language. That is the language which we'll be using for generating the label. And there are some configuration around that. Uh, but in this course, we won't be dealing with the language of ZPL. I'll be just showing how to configure a label and like small tweaks how we can do that. That's a thing I'll be showing in this session because ZPL language it's too wide. So every time if we need, we just Google it and we generate. And if in real time or in some projects, like the customer will be having a third party application where they design a label in a layout and that will give the ZPL language and we copy and paste and we do some mapping. Because the reason for mapping is some data from F&O we need to extract right in the label, like order number or customer number, everything it has to come from Dynamics only. So there are some mappings. We will be defining the mapping and based on that the system uh, generates it. And Dynamics 365 supports scanning, it supports to barcode, I mean 2D and 3D, like yeah, barcode and QR code, both it supports. But for scanning, it just supports 2D, barcode only it supports. And next is work template. Now, work template, like we define what a worker has to carry, uh, like a minimal set of things that are expected in a work template is pick and put. This is a combination. Like whenever you have a pick, you need to have a put. You need to have this as a pair. Like if you create two picks and two puts, if you miss one also, the system will give an error. So why we will be using is while creating a work system, like based on this, the system knows from which location it has to be picked. But the work template says that what he has to perform. Okay, this is the action that are defined for each of the process and a work creation, like pick from a location and put in another location. From where you will be picking comes from location directive. But what the worker has to do, that definition comes from work template. And with these two information, a work will be created. So it's a template kind of thing. And if you want multiple picks and put, as I said earlier, there can be a staging place where they pick and put in a staging, and later from the staging place, they will pick and again they will put in a different location. So now here there are two sets of pick and put, right? So in some operation there will be only one set. So these kind of things will be defining in the book. And then mobile menu setup, like for every operation, like purchase, like in the earlier slide I was showing, no, purchase order, receiving, all those. So for every operation, we will be creating a separate menu. The menu is more of a configuration. Okay, and we will be assigning the menus for each of the worker, and only those list of menus you will be seeing. Like we will be having a worker creation and we will be tagging the menus for each of the worker, and then app configuration is there. So these are the setups that are there. Any questions? I'll just take a break here.
Can you relate work template to mobile configuration and another subject here, mobile app configuration? Is there any correlation between two of them?
uh,
Work
See,
template. Work
okay,
template
work
means the
template,
worker will go and pick where it is, where he had to,
no,
what are the
no,
things
no,
supposed to
that
do.
is work.
Yeah.
Sorry, that is work actually. So work, when I say work template, it means that we predefine for this action what are the set of actions that should be taken. Like let's say this is a demo one. Okay, so when we say sales picking, what are the different operation that we should be carrying out in a sales picking? One is picking on of an item and then putting in a different location, correct? Here there are a pick process and a put process. Whereas if you see counting, there'll be only one process where you just scan. Now, how you will we will differentiate that? Okay, for sales, there should be a pick and put. For cycle count, it's just a counting. Like you just need to scan. You need to visit a location and you just need to scan. So this definition we call as work template. I'll just show you in the front end so you will have an idea. So this is a emulator which we will be using, but in real time, this will be the application what will be using. Here you see the work templates are created and you have the operation like one pick and one put. And for some, if you see here, there are two pairs of pick. Like pick from one location and put in this stage, and then pick from the stage and put in Beidou. Whereas here, it's just pick from the picking location and put in a bay door. So this like there could be different scenarios where we need a normal way of picking and there could be a staging thing. Okay, so all these will be defining in the work template, and we will be like everywhere we will have an edit query. We will define what condition this particular uh, work template should be used. Like this is applicable only for warehouse 51. Like we can define a number of templates like this. And if you see cycle counting, I'll check this later. At inventory movement, we have one pick and put. Most for everything, it will be same. Right, I think that is the only difference. Maybe this is for FG. Fine, but you guys are understand what is the purpose of work template, right?
Yeah.
So based on this setup only, I'll show you the work. Okay, this is the work. Let's say this is a transaction document, whereas the work template is a setup. So here you will have pick and put, and how this location is arrived based on the location directory, and how these lines are arrived based on the work template. That's a key difference. And if you see in the work, you'll see load ID, shipment, view ID. And if I go to the shipment, you will see the customer detail, order code number, here it is, and what is the status of the shipment. It is picked, so still it is not picked. If it's picked, it will be of status picked. When address will be there, I think it's written. But and from here, I think you will have the sale order somewhere. So that's a link. Like in the shipment, you will see shipment ID, no, where, and the sale order as well, and for which warehouse, when it should be picked. For those you will have, and from here also we can allocate the work. So once this work is completed, the status of the shipment will be changed, like shipment confirmed. So this will be your tracking. Like if you see Flipkart, they say the item has been picked or still processing, right? So based on this status, they will be notifying our customer what is the status of the particular.
One query.
Okay, and coming to the mobile, sorry, any
Sure.
questions?
Yeah. So how it's
Yeah.
linked to with sales order? Whenever you're checking with the sales order side, so will it be updated in sales order?
Hmm. Right, it will be updated on the sales order side as well. Uh, and we will have a sale order number.
So I mean to say like work template will be assigned to each sales order or like how it is linking?
No, no, no. Say linkers. So let me think. Okay, so first we'll create a sales order. Okay, and next action is release to warehouse. It's just an action. Okay, here we will be defining the quantity. How many quantity we gonna process for a shipment, and that will create a shipment. So your shipment will have the sale order number and how many quantities that are released. Okay. Let's say your sale order is of 10 quantity and you are releasing 5. So your shipment will have, say that sales order 1 of 10 quantity, sorry, of 5 quantity, and to which customer everything. Now this will be added to a load or a wave. See, in some scenarios, load will be created first. In some scenarios, wave will be created first. Okay, depends on the scenario. Like if you are dealing with the transportation management, before the shipment, you create a load. Okay, so don't get confused that this is always a sequence like shipment, load, and wave. Based on the scenario, it might differ. Okay, so that's the reason I'm giving load-based wave. Now here in the wave, you will see shipment ID. Okay, shipment ID of and then quantity 5. Now, once the wave is processed, the next action is wave process. Once this is processed, a work will be created. So what a work will have is pick, location, and the quantity or which shipment. These details it will have, and then put location. Okay, the quantity. Again, if there are more than one shipment, can be more than one in the work. And this will have a quantity shipment ID. Okay. And for these two, we'll be placing in the same location only, right? So the sum of these quantity will be shown. This is how the relation. Like from the work, you can see only the shipment. From the shipment, you can go to the sales order.
Even location wise also we can create the wave process, or like only for one warehouse we can create one wave.
No, for each warehouse, you can create a wave template, but not at location because the locations and the work what has to be done will be identified at the time of processing a wave. Only at this point, the system will execute like it will go to engine and see what, from where the item has to be picked everything.
Okay, clear.
Okay.
Thank
Any questions? Okay. Now let's say till this it's clear. No, now the work has been created and then I do assignment of work to a worker. I say to a worker, okay, you process this shipment, and then he goes to this picking location, he picks and he completes the work. Then complete the work. So once this is completed, means the item is available in the outbound location, the final location from where it will be moved out of the factory or warehouse. And then we will confirm shipment, and then we post packing. And then we post. In some scenarios, you will have a packing process here. And in some scenarios, while performing the work itself, we will have a packing process. Like, see, one is like picking everything and doing packing at the later stage. The other scenario is while picking itself, the worker will take some boxes, he will put directly over there, and then he sends off. So both are possible. Okay. Any questions? Meanwhile, I'll just show you the mobile device setup. So here we will create. These are the list of menus. Okay, and for that we will have a menu item. These are the menu items. What you will be seeing. I'm just using the emulator. should be visible. So each worker will have an ID and a password. We can define in the worker form. See, the menus, what you see, it's from the previous screen what I've shown you. See, a main menu. Within that, you will have inbound, outbound, inventory, production, quality, change warehouse. These are the different options. And audio sync. And within that, will have the menu items. Purchase receiving, put away, transfer receiving, return receiving, checking, kit receiving, all those we have. And for all these, we will have setup. Let's take purchase. Okay. If you see purchase, this is the setup, and here we define how we wanted to receive. This is just a purchase order item receiving. Somewhere we will have license plate, load item receiving. You see, this is load, and there will be something called license plate. So this is nothing but the ASN receiving. And you can also see different menus here for spot count, purchase order, adjustment. Right? So these are related to production process. And then the return order receiving. So all these we will be configuring, and then we will add to the mobile menu. And if you go to the worker, you will define the worker ID and what is the menu that is applicable for him and what is the default warehouse. He can be like one worker can be assigned to multiple warehouse, and over here you can define the password for that login. Okay, so any questions in warehouse management? Guys, am I audible?
Yes,
Yes,
Ashok, you
Ashok.
are audible. Yes, yes.
Fine.
Yeah.
Okay, so any questions? Right.
For now.
Then I'll quickly go into transportation management. I'm not going into much depth, but I'll just say the topics what we will be covering. Okay, so under transportation management, we will dealing with inbound and outbound operation. So here majorly the load preparation, like what are the different shipments that should go into a particular load. Okay, it can be one shipment or two or three shipments. Okay, so if we are going with the transportation management for each shipment, like if we are not dealing with our own freight, if it's a third party, for each shipment it's better to have one load. But if we are having our own truck where we can uh, like, because if we are having our own truck we won't be dealing with the chargers, all those, right? And whereas uh, if it's a third party, we need to check the charge and we need to see which is better. Everything we need to see. So for that, for each shipment, we will have to have a separate note for our own fleet. We can add more than one shipment. Let's say uh, one shipping carrier, sorry, one truck should be delivering three or four shipments to different customer. Okay, like the process will be optimized in such a way, like which are the near customers. For that, they will be having a separate load, and based on the kilometers, everything they manage and they put in one load and they will send. Here, the cost is being optimized, whereas in the other process, it's not because it's a different shipment and we are dealing with third party. So once a load has been prepared, we will find which is the best rate and route for that. Okay, like here it's more of a manual process where we key in the system stating what is the charge for a kilometer. It can be like there are different engines. So in India, maybe it's based on postal code or kilometers, whereas in the other countries there are different. They segregate as a zone, subzones. There are multiple or mileage based. Everything they give. So based on that, the system will show us what are the different rates from each shipping carrier, and out of that we select which is the best rate. And if we are dealing with our own fleet, we'll be going with route system. For third party, it is more of a rate. For like our own fleet, it's more of a route based one. And then we create an appointment stating when the driver will check in, so that we can have our shipments ready to get that loaded. And there is a driver check-in and check-out option. It's nothing but once a driver comes, we will key in the details and we will mention what is the load ID, everything. And then we process invoice. So invoice, it's for the third party shipping carrier, and we have an option where we can add that charge to the customer. Like we can ask the customer to pay that. That option is also there, or we can bear the charge. So invoice process also will be there, part of transportation. And as per the setup, we will define the route guide and plans. Like so if this is the origin location, uh, going to this location will take how many kilometers? All those we should be keying in the system. Like nothing comes automatically. We need to enter everything manually, or we should have some third party for integration. And rates also we define. And break is like, let's say for every 10 kilometers, or like different slabs are there. Like 0 to 10 kilometers, this is a charge, and 10, 11 to 50 kilometers, this is a charge. So that slab we call here as a break master. And in some scenarios, we will have hubs, like it will be moved from one hub to another hub, and from there it will be like there'll be different shipping carrier that will be dealing that particular transportation process. All these we define, and we define the shipping carriers. So this is all it will deal with. Any questions here?
Ashok, can you able to hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Ashok, like I have a question on driver check-in and checkout. At
Mm.
which stage we need to do the driver check-in and checkout? For example,
Okay.
we already
Mm.
discussing, right, like releasing to the warehouse, work,
Mm.
pick and put. At which
Okay.
level we need to do the driver check-in and checkout?
Okay. So first, before that, I'll explain appointment at what point. So appointments can be at different stages. Like once you are planning a load, as I said, no, once it is released, or say, as I right, this can change. In some scenarios, you'll create the shipment first. In some scenarios, you'll create a way first. Sorry, load first.
Okay.
Right? This load can be either of this. So if you are using transportation, and if you prepare a load, so once you are preparing the load, based on that, you can generate the appointment. So by fixing the appointment, you will get to know at what point the driver gonna come approximately. And once he entered into our premise, we will update the check-in. Okay,
Okay.
and once he moves out of the premise, we define
Mhm.
the checkout. It's
Okay.
mostly okay. It's not drive actually. It's driver. So once we entered into the premise, we check in, or one yeah, because like some they charge based on the time as well, right? So we need to get out the track of they don't use this mostly. The projects which
Yeah.
I've seen, it's mostly to get the price. That's where they use transportation, and
Mm.
you see the full-fledged utilization of transportation. Because there are some third-party application which does this management better. So Dynamics is not the best thing for transportation, and they are coming up with some new features going forward. Like say, mostly Dynamics focus on warehouse management. The features or the options, what I'm seeing recently, mostly for warehouse management and transportation management, we don't have much.
Okay. Okay. Got it.
But this is the thing. Yeah. Only when you visit the premise and he steps out and it moves out, then we update the check-in and check. I had a flow which describes that. So maybe this will give a clear-cut idea. Purchase order, prepare load, assign the rate or route, and then plan an appointment, and then check in, load the container and load the truck and then check. Okay, this is for inbound. Whereas if you see for outbound, sales order, load creation, and assignment of freight or route, plan, the appointment, release to warehouse, work completion, then check in, load, and then check out. Let's check in here. In the other scenario, sale order, release to warehouse. If you see here, the second step is load creation, whereas here it's release to warehouse. So these are the different things.
Okay, thank you so much, Ashok.
Okay, so any questions in transportation?
Can we see a transportation management in environment on the front end? Just to know, Ashok.
I mean, like what you want to exactly see? Like the
In the
menus what you
environment,
see?
in the FI, yeah,
Uh,
is like only transportation management or any other thing that to
See
be
this model.
checked in other only
Here we
transportation
have a
management
model,
only.
right? And we have the plan, workbench, loads, shipments, appointments,
Okay, okay.
and this is for invoices. Then I will quickly go into landed cost. Okay, so landed cost, it's mostly used for import of goods. Like today, there was a big gap before this module. Like whenever we are importing, before receiving the shipment, we need to pay the vendor, right? But in Dynamics, if we are making an invoice, like the stocks also will get updated and in real time, once after receiving the shipment only, we will be knowing what is the custom charge and the duties, right? So we can't add those charges to the item cost. There was a big gap. So then Microsoft had acquired this ISV from DXC. Okay, so what the main purpose of this is, even before receiving the item, you can post an invoice. Okay, and then once it is received, whatever invoice, whatever charges that are incurred, that can be added to the item cost. So basic, if as a process we see, we prepare a package. This is a journey, or okay, within that package, we will be adding multiple purchase orders. Assume package is a load. Okay, like some like there are multiple purchase orders that you have created and that is being exported from your vendor, say from a different country and to your location. So all the purchase order you put under one voyage, and then you can track the voyage. Like before tracking, you need to define the journey template. Like if any shipment is moving from India to Australia, let's say it goes to China and then it goes to Australia. So here there are two breaks of journey from Chennai port to China and from China to Australia, or it can be the other way also. Like from here to China, it's going in ship, and from China to Australia, it goes in flight. So there can be different ways of transportation. So, but there are two different legs, right? One is this, and another is one is India to China and China to Australia. So all these legs you can update in journey template, and you will be defining the approximate number of days it takes for a journey. And based on this dates, and the system gives when you can expect the shipment. And there are some third party applications are there which gives you the exact location or how many days it takes for receiving the shipment, like a real time thing. Even with that also you can integrate and see the real time data. This data will be updated in your purchase order expected receiving date. Okay. And for each journey, I mean each legs, you will be defining what are the different charges. Like there are different apportion methods are there, like how we have the charges, the standard charges are there, like based on the quantity. Okay. Here also we do have multiple apportions based on the quantity, volume, all those. And the system calculates the charge and it will add on top of the item cost. once the item has been received physically. And this module supports advanced warehouse also. You can do normal receiving when you are using the landed cost module, or you can use advanced warehouse that we call git receive, goods in transit receive. Okay, and there will be scenarios where you assumed that the cost is different, but the actual cost was different. So whatever this landed cost will add first is the assumption expected, and once you receive the actual document, you can correct that, and the item cost will be corrected on top of that. Okay. So if I go to the module, they said here we have OH. I ignore folios and not folios is nothing but a tracking thing. And we have the tracking details for the inbound. And there are some setups, shipping container, costing setups are there. So these are the different costs that will be added and to which account it should be debited, credited, all those details. Auto cost. Here we define what is the cost at the voyage level, shipment level. Before shipment, we have freight and insurance. Else for voyage, we'll have BF, and the category, the apportionment method is percentage. So we will define the percentage over here. And here we have weight based on the weight amount. So we can define like this. And if you see here, for from this port to this port, like this is applicable only for this particular lake and for this particular container type. Like that, we can define multiple rules. Like so, it's a kind of a trade agreement, like an advance charges thing. That's how it has been defined. Yep. That's the thing we see here mostly. We define the journey template here. See, this is from Australia to New Zealand. So one is first they will be loading, and then this will be the actual port from port and to port, and what is the mode of delivery. And here we define which is the last and the first one. So here it's just one from one port to another. So we just have one. Let me take it. Here, if you see, it's coming from China to Australia, and then Australia to New Zealand. So the starting journey is this for the port, and this is the two port. So the cost will be added based on the setup, based on these ports. So this will be ignored. This is the rest of the legs are just for tracking only. And in the tracking control center, we define the lead time. So from this port to this port, it takes one time. I mean, the first leg for loading, it takes one day. And for customs, it takes 3 days. The next look, once it like once it entered into our country, it takes 2 days. And from Australia to New Zealand, it takes 3 days. So when you plan for a like once you create based on all these details, it cumulates all the dates and the system updates the purchase receipt date, expected receipt date, not the actual. So in short, planet cost is used for invoicing even before receiving the item and adding the item cost to the like the customs and the duties to the item and then tracking of item. How many days it takes, where it is currently for those. Any questions here?
Sir, just a question like landed cost is used. Is this module used? I mean, like it's very rare right now. I mean,
It's a new module. So far, I have seen two implemented two projects from experience who have used. So it was a big gap earlier. Like we were not able to add the custom charters to the item. So I think slowly they've used because I think it's released last year, somewhere in the Jan or before end of 2021, I think, somewhere like that. With a new model.
Okay. Do we have projects on these module, or like is this like not sure?
See, I'm not sure. I don't know how to say that, but companies may use this because it's a useful thing for adding the charges and the cost.
Okay, so it's more for like adding the cost and for more of you know
See, they
import
don't use this for
um,
tracking, right? Mostly it's for import business where they
import
majorly
businesses.
into import and adding the cost, right?
Okay. And just a question, Ashok, like what's the plan on this course? Because I haven't joined the demo. Like, what is the duration? Like, you're planning to take the entire warehouse
Say,
course? Like,
approximately I plan for 40 hours, and it's not like hourly based. Whatever I explained today, like what you are seeing in the slide, I'll be
mhm.
explaining you the process and the setups that are required. And if there are some leftover sessions, we will be discussing on the doubts, everything. So this is our plan. So it's not really based on the number of hours. It's like it's mostly based on the content.
Okay, it's based on the content you mean to say.
Right. But an approx, I would say, uh, 40 hours.
40 hours. Okay, approximately
Right.
40 hours. Okay. Okay, and there is some pop-up, like even I also had the same question. Is the timing would remain the same, and are you will be sharing the recordings as well?
I think we'll be sharing the records as well, but on the timing, if everyone are okay with a particular timing, I'm also like it can be on the morning or it can be on the evening, but again, depends on everyone's interest.
Okay, okay. And on the warehouse module, like you will be taking care on the emulator and also the app. Is there an
See,
app that you will
for
be
the
sharing?
demo, it will be I'll be using the emulator because I'm using a older trial where I don't have the
Mm-hmm.
registration details and all. But I can share you the document if you guys like you guys are from Dynamics, right? So somehow you will have your own environment from your company. You can try it in any because see, it needs app ID, app registration ID, and the secret. Those two things
Mm-hmm.
you will get from Azure only. And we like you can request someone who is handling your Azure things, or if the project which you are dealing already has warehouse management, then it's better you can use that. But
No, no,
for
no.
the demo, it will be a simulator.
Okay, it's only on the emulator. So there is no, you will not be taking care of the app configuration and all those things. Like
See,
you
configuration
just
will be
have that.
different. So
So it's just a document. Yeah, we can do.
it's just a document. The reason is if
Yeah.
you see the
Mm,
configuration, these are the details we need. Connection
mm.
name, ignore the name, Microsoft client ID, okay, and this is resource ID, tenant ID, and the company. That's a configuration. Nothing there in mobile device. Whereas once you log in, you will see the menus, right?
Yes, yes.
In the that I will take care. Like how we will be configuring menus, all those I will take care. But
Mm-hmm.
the same thing you will be seeing in emulator as well. But
The
the
emulator, yeah,
particular
it's the same
WMS
thing. Yeah.
app, but the app thing, I'll share the document. You can configure because you need the information from the environment, and it's not only from Dynamics. You need some information from the Azure as well,
Okay.
like the client ID and the client secret.
Thanks.
Okay. Guys, any questions? So now you guys are clear, like what we gonna cover because there was a query that that the content was not clear. That's the reason I went with this PPT at a high level. Let me know if something is missing. I can answer it.
Ashok, a small appeal to you.
Yeah.
When we are going further sessions, just please let us know if there are any, standard versus any customization scope that since you have encountered in your uh, day-to-day practice, so that it will be easy for us to know scenario-based thinking. In other words,
Scenario based I can, but I don't think so because each business is different. So
yeah,
I can give wherever I come across, I will say
yeah,
what is the
that is the
customization
reason,
that they.
because that the thought process would make the difference for us, because since we are entering into the totally new world, so that will help us this.
If you guys are new, I would recommend go with the standard. I'll say what is the process that we follow, whatever I see. But
Yes.
discussing too much on the customization,
No, 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 no.
like you
Not
guys are the
discussing
rule
on too
maker.
much. Yeah. No, 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 no. Only thing is, what is the standard versus the customized that I have done. That's it. Simple. So that we can at least know we should not be surprised to us when we are practicing. That is the only part.
See, that's not in my hand, right? See, whatever environment you are dealing, it can be your customers, and only you guys know what is the customization over there. So to
Mm,
differentiate that,
agree.
I can say these are the standard. Like whatever I
Yes.
feel explaining, it's pure of standard.
Yes.
If
Yes.
something is different, then consider that it's a customization.
Oh, fine, fine.
Or
Okay.
there are situations where there might be a new features also because you see, right, every 2 months they release a number of features.
Agree.
Okay. If there is no question, shall we close the session?
Yeah. One more point on Ashok. So, which legal entity we can use for the practice? Is it like
Go
USMF
with
or
the USMF and use Veros 61.
Vero 61?
All right.
No. Thanks. Thanks.
Don't use USRT. USRT it's purely for retail. So USMF 61 is the basic case.
Yeah.
Okay, so I will stop sharing the screen. Okay, guys, thank you for your time.